You already know that you're going to write a lot. Each school typically has a group of prompts they want addressed. But I will say that there are often a few things about yourself that you want to make sure a school knows regardless of their prompts. And they can usually be built into the personal statement. So just like we explored our most cherished values, I want you to pause and answer 2 questions, even if it's just to tuck these responses aside for the time being. So colleges will see your classes and grades along with your activities. So question number 1 is, beyond that information, what do you feel your application is missing? Number 2, what do you feel it's important for a university to know about you? Go ahead and respond to both of these with a free write and no judgment when you brainstorm. All right, hold on to what you wrote. It's likely important that you weave in that information at some point, and you will find a way. Like most likely, even if a college, they have a specific prompt in mind. In a minute, I want to walk you through the most common essay prompts so you can start thinking about how to fit in what you just wrote and other points you're going to address. But before we really dive into specific prompts, I want you to remember that every single essay ultimately answers one or more of the following questions. Those are, who are you? What matters to you? What do you value? How have you grown? What is the context in which you took classes and earned grades? Where do you come from? And how do you see the world? I promise you, these will come up, but they might be buried in the prompt, what's actually written. So depending on your school list, you'll likely have several prompts, all with their own focus, but the list of questions I just shared, they're at the heart of each prompt. All right, so what are these actual prompts, you ask? Well, I'm guessing you're going to apply to at least one school that uses the Common App. Most private schools accept it. So let's start there. For first-year applicants, you do get some choice. The prompts comprise that big personal statement. Well, that one will go out to any school that accepts it and wants it. But side note, there are supplemental essays that we're going to discuss later, often much shorter in length and campus-specific, meaning they don't go to every school. All right, now back to the personal statement and the Common App for now. It has a minimum word count of 250. You are not going to have a problem meeting that. The maximum word count is 650. Now, you don't have to get all the way up to 650 words. You just can't go over. There are 7 prompts from which you select one. Let's go through each one and then you can make the best choice. But I want you to keep in mind, they all carry the same amount of weight, so don't go trying to trick out the system thinking one's better than the other. Just pick the prompt that pulls the most information and self-reflection out of you. And the UC has a really nice note of encouragement. They say, quote, responses should explore your life and your accomplishments. When sharing examples, explain why they are relevant to the person you are today. The majority of your responses should be on the present and/or recent past. That's not always the case. We'll talk about that later. Right now, let's go through the 7 prompts the Common App provides, from which you choose one. Some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. So this first prompt asks about a unique quality. It can be a background, identity, interest, or talent. But when I just asked you to brainstorm what's your application missing and what you want the school to know about you, here it is. This is something that makes you stand out. Students often have something unique to share without realizing it. That happens often. So let's say you moved several times during high school, and each time you had to set up a new life in a new place. Okay, this points to your adaptability. Sure, more story is needed, but remember, not every essay needs to be about a big, huge event. For this prompt, think about a time when someone has maybe commented on how you're special or different, or brainstorm any times you felt you stood out. And listen, I know that it's sometimes tough to talk yourself up, but now is not the time to be humble. In the end, you'll make sure it doesn't sound like there's too much ego. I mean, most of the time, students are actually not self-promoting enough, so don't worry about that. The whole point of this app is to self-promote, so do it. Prompt number 2, the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from the experience? This is about a time when you've been challenged. That can be a big challenge or a small challenge. It can even address a failure, but as long as you talk about what you've learned from the difficult experience, it will work. 3, reflect on a time when you've questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? So for this prompt, you're demonstrating that you're an independent thinker and you've used your own voice to speak up. Perhaps you've gone against the status quo or like the traditional way of thinking. You made a choice that was different from the norm, the group, society. I'm always reminded when I think of this prompt of this image I've seen where there are all these little blue fish packed together swimming in one direction. And then there's just one little orange fish swimming in the other direction. So when have you been the orange fish? When have you shown the bravery and authenticity to challenge the popular opinion? Like, why do you think the way you do? And how did it feel to speak up? Lastly, make sure you tell the story from beginning to end with all of the useful bits of information. You don't want to be vague and confuse your reader. Next, we have reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? This essay is asking how another person made you feel happy and grateful. But be really careful not to talk about this other person too much because the essay is not about them. You want to mention them as a means to discuss you. How do you think differently now? What have you done to pay it forward? It can be many things, but be specific. Next, we have discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. So make sure that when you talk about an accomplishment or an event, this thing that happened, you provide enough backstory so readers know how it happened and how you now look at the world differently as a result. So this shouldn't be a montage essay, meaning it should focus on one event with a lot of detail rather than a bunch of little things strewn together. The concept of personal growth implies an experience happened that changed your mindset in a profound way, a big way. So the experience doesn't need to be big. It could be the time you experienced or witnessed an injustice, made a mistake, advocated for someone. You probably want to keep it to the recent past since this is asking how you have matured, likely in the last few years, not when you were 7. Next, we have describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging that it makes you lose all track of time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? What's underneath this prompt? Simple. One question, what inspires you? Like, what's your passion? There are qualities colleges value in their students: intellectual curiosity and love of learning. They want motivated and engaged students who put in the work. So when have you shown the love of learning and commitment? The first question I ask is why. So for example, a student can pick any major, but why does one student want to be a mechanical engineer and not a literature major? We want to highlight our uniqueness. So ask yourself why you were drawn to this topic, idea, or concept. What inspired it? And what do you hope to do with this knowledge? There's likely a background story and some future aspirations to share for this one. Now we have share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. Finally, we have a catch-all prompt. It can be about anything. So if you've already worked on another essay like the UC personal insight questions, you can elongate it for the personal statement and throw it into this prompt. So there you have it, the Common App's personal statement. If you're applying to the University of California system or the UC's, keep listening. Their prompts are similar to the Common App, thankfully, but they're referred to as PIQs or personal insight questions. So see what I mean? Personal insight. All of these questions, UC or otherwise, are ultimately digging for self-reflection of your growth.